Using progress to examine student engagement and check your knowledge. Why colors are not showing up on grades. When you use KP Compass, you'll see student engagement using grades. So grades shows whether or not they have done any work in the module. But sometimes colors won't show up. So let me show you a way to make sure that they've actually done what we call a check your knowledge so that the colors do show up. So I click on the John Graduate, and there's a couple of key indicators that we could use to determine certain things. First off, we see that this student has earned over 1,000 points. So if you use this as a way to compare students to students, so if a student has more points compared to another student, that means that the student has had more engagement in the program than the other. So they earn points by checking their knowledge, answering questions, and completing projects. So everything they do in the program earns them knowledge points. So one thing you could think of is like maybe at the end of a quarter, you give extra credit to the students with the most points, as an example. The other thing is we also see those students level. They all start at level 1 and they level up through the program as they continue to use KP Compass. So you can also use that as a way to compare whether or not a student is really engaged. So if they're working on the same material and John here is a level 11, but Sally or Peyton is level 20, then you can tell that there's a difference in levels of engagement as well. The other thing is when you click on the number, you'll see their overall progress in all the materials. In this case, we have a lot of materials that John's going through. And then we see the modules that the student has worked in that's been assigned. So let's take a look at knife knowledge. So when we expand knife knowledge, it gives me the level they earn throughout their time in this module. So you see John's gone back and leveled up to 11 by taking check your knowledge here, knife knowledge. And we see that he's taking this check your knowledge 7 times. Now, if a student comes to you and says, hey, my knife knowledge is green or yellow, but you're not seeing any colors on your grade screen, and you open up knife knowledge, then you'll see how many, if they've actually made an attempt in check your knowledge. So for example, keeping food safe, which is one that John here has got yellow, and that yellow is actually showing up for him because he did a practice question and got some feedback, but you see there's no pictures. So therefore, he has not done a check your knowledge. The other thing to keep in mind is that we want to see a check your knowledge between 3 to 5 times on average. 1 time is not enough to really know if they actually understand the material. So if you've only taken a quiz once and a formative assessment, then that's not a good indicator. 3 times, more than 3 times is better. In this case, 7 times, it's acceptable, you know. But you just want to make sure that they're not goofing off. So if they've done 7 knowledge checks and they're still red, then there's something clearly wrong and they're just goofing off. Here under fire safety health code standards, we see that he has done it a few more times, food contaminants a lot more times. So this is a clear indication that John here is just goofing off. And we see that student orientation, we've definitely goofed off a lot in this particular one. So what we want to look for is 3 to 5 pictures of chromie, not the levels, because this is just means that they've achieved a certain level during their checking your knowledge, but total number of pictures. And this will let you know how well they perform in that module. If you have a students who have all greens and only 1 test, that means they're not using the program seriously and just looking up the answers. Because we have to remind them that check your knowledge is a self-help tool so that when they do take the summative exam, the checkpoint test, they'll know they're ready. So if they're cheating the system and they're only looking up answers, then we're never going to be able to tell them what they know and what they don't know. So remind them of that the check your knowledge is a self-assessment to determine whether they know the content or not. And there you have it.